You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whenever you're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, just know that I heart you. Today is December 10th, 2024. It's a Tuesday, so it's another day for the Central Indiana Sports Report. From Stage 22 in Elwood, I'm your host, Greg Mengelt. Producer Susie Mengelt is in the control room at headquarters in Jeffersonville. There were no girls' basketball games locally Monday, but we do have a busy Tuesday ahead of us. There are 13 games Tuesday. We will preview all of those, and Kevin Helfrich will preview the Marion-Wayne game. Kevin will be calling the game for the Action Sports Network on Tuesday evening. We start the scoreboard with Elwood Tipton. We should have a full report on that win on Wednesdays. Central Indiana Sports Report with Elwood call leader and Tipton Tribune sports editor Michelle Garman. After a 6-0 start, Elwood goes to Tipton on Tuesday evening, looking to snap a 3-game losing streak. Meanwhile, the Blue Devils recently ended their own losing streak. A 38-31 win over Taylor on Wednesday ended a 6-game skid and makes the Blue Devils 2-6. Elwood has already doubled its win total from last year. Tipton didn't win a game last year and already has 2 this year. Both teams are led by talented sophomores. Tipton's Mackenzie Farinella is averaging 8.5 points, 6.5 rebounds, 2.8 steals, and 2.3 assists through 8 games. Elwood sophomore Breland Norris scored 35 of Elwood's 47 points over the weekend. Last year, Elwood ended a 17-game losing streak to the Blue Devils with a 36-13 victory. This year, the computer-based Sagarin rating says Elwood is favored by 5. Oak Hill enters Thursday's game at Mechanical on a 4-game winning streak, including a weekend sweep of Elwood and Western. Now the Golden Eagles take on a good Mechanical team that is 5-2 and 4-0 in Bunker Hill after beating Northfield by 6 and Eastern by 39 last week. Senior Liz Godfrey leads the balanced Oak Hill attack at 12.2 points per game. Junior Lydia Trexler leads the team at 5.3 rebounds. Sophomore Landry Hardman is the team leader with 5.1 assists per game and 4.4 steals per contest. The Braves have a talented sophomore crew. Their top 3 scorers are all sophomores: Ireland Kyle, Aubrey Stoll, and Delaney Betzner. Mechaniqual's 5 sophomores combined averaged 35 points, 20 rebounds, 12.5 steals, and 11 assists per game. Oak Hill beat Mechanical by 11 points last year and have beaten the Braves 15 of the last 17 times they've played. The Sagarin rating says it'll happen again, Oak Hill by 7. Tri-Central's getting healthy and it's showing. The Trojans beat Madison Grant and West Dell last week and are above 500 for the first time this year. They also won back-to-back games for the first time this year, and they've won 3 of their last 4. They have a tough conference test in front of them on Tuesday in Frankfort. 3-5 Clinton Prairie started the season 3-2, but has lost 3 in a row, including a 40-point loss to Sheridan on Saturday. The Gophers average just 31 points per game and are shooting 27% from the field for the year. Tri-Central is 1-1 in the Hoosier Heartland Conference. Clinton Prairie is 1-2. The Sagarin rating says Clinton Prairie by 5, but that probably doesn't take into account that Tri-Central has gotten a couple of players back in the last couple of weeks. Pendleton's tough schedule just continues to get tougher. The Arabians have already played some of the best teams in the state in Westfield and number 1 Lawrence Central. Like those two, Hamilton Southeastern is unquestionably a state championship contender. The Royals enter Tuesday's home game against Pendleton at 10-0 against a very tough schedule. They are ranked 2nd in the state, only behind Lawrence Central, which beat the Arabians 72-46 on November 20th. They are led by senior Maya Mikulski, who's averaging 24 points per game. Mikulski is headed to IU next fall. Pendleton is 5-4 and has won 2 of its last 3, including a huge 59-37 win over rival Mount Vernon. in its only game last week. The Sagarin rating says Hamilton Southeastern is favored by 16. Hamilton Heights is 0-9 and has a great shot at getting win number 1 on Tuesday when the Huskies host 1-7 Logansport. The Berries have lost 7 in a row. Logansport and Heights haven't played each other in the last 40 years and maybe longer. The Sagarin rating says the Huskies get it done. They should. It says Heights by 10. Should be a great one in Delaware County Tuesday when 5-2 Yorktown visits 7-1 Wapahani. Yorktown has won 3 straight and 4 of its last 5, and the Raiders are looking for their second 4-game winning streak this season. Yorktown has had its biggest 2 wins of the season recently, beating Delta 47-46 and Lapel 52-39. Wapahani won its last 3 games, all on the road, by a combined 127 points. They're beating teams this year by an average of 28 points per game. Wapahani beat the Tigers 43-40 last year in Yorktown. In fact, they've beaten the Tigers the last 5 times they've met. The Sagarin rating says this year is basically a toss-up. Wapahani by 5. Anderson looks for its first win Tuesday when it goes to Mount Vernon. Anderson is 0-8, but not one of those helpless, winless teams that many of us have seen far too many times. Anderson will get some wins this season. Probably won't be Tuesday, though. Despite an ugly loss to Pendleton, Mount Vernon is 7-3 and a pretty good team. They also beat Anderson twice last year in a couple of pretty close games, 34-25 in the regular season and 48-42 in the opening round of the sectional, en route to the program's 19th sectional championship. 10 of those have come under current head coach Julie Shelton. Jeff Sagarin's formula says Mount Vernon by 25. Delta is 6-3, and 2 of their losses have come by 1 and 2 points against county rivals. Up Tuesday is another county rival on the other end of the spectrum. Burris is 1-8 and has lost 3 in a row. The Owls are 0-7 against Delta the last 40 years, and the Sagarin rating says it'll be at least another year before they get one. It says Delta by 46. Kevin Helfrich will be calling the Fort Wayne at Marion game on Tuesday. I asked Kevin about Marion's talented freshman class and suggested that the Giants might be a program on the rise.
It really is. And Naomi Hahn, who's averaging team high 17.4 points per game to go with 9 rebounds. So she's virtually a double-double every night out. To go along with fellow freshman Jaylee Townsend, who's at 5'11". She averaged 17 points as well. She shoots 43% from the floor. She also averages 9.4 rebounds per game. So they're kind of the dynamic duo for Marion, kind of a young Marion squad that's got Shania Scott, who's a guard who averages 6.4 points a game and 4.6 rebounds a game. So it's a great core nucleus for Marion. It's a young team that only averaged 22.4 points a game last year. They have increased their scoring output. They're up to 55.8 points per game, and the season's 8 games in now. They've already doubled their win total from a year ago. They are coming off a tough loss to 8th-ranked Class A Carroll of Flora County last Saturday night in just a close game there. They only lost by 6 points. And so they're looking to get back on the winning track. It'll be a tall task tonight, though. They're going against a Fort Wayne team that is on a 6-game winning streak, comes into the Bill Green Athletic Arena, averaging 52.7 points a game and only giving up 37.2. So it'll be an interesting night tonight for the Giants to be able to put some points on the board to get enough to beat this balanced general team that has 5 players who scored at least 7 points a game. They're led by Kadani Grayson at 11.4 points a game, and Davion Irons, who also averages 11.4 points per game. Then they got 3 other girls that are right up there, near double figures. So defensively tonight, the Giants will have to bring it if they're going to have a chance to pull this one out at home.
And at this point, you probably figure the more big challenges for Marion, the better as far as the future goes.
Yeah, it can only help, in the progression of this squad and this program. And, I think they'll be up for the challenge. They've played well, and they'll have to play well tonight, no doubt. And then they'll turn around again, and they'll play a Huntington North team on Saturday night on the road. So they'll have to go back on the road and try to get a victory there. So Yeah, like it's just a good opportunity is how they have to look at it to get a nice win against a team that's very good.
Kevin will have a report from Marion on Wednesday's Central Indiana Sports Report. That one should be very competitive. The Sagarin rating says Wayne by 1. Should be a great game at the Muncie Fieldhouse as well when Jay County visits Tuesday. Central is 4-4 after going 2-20 last year and hosts the 3-4 Patriots. Jay County has beaten the Bearcats 8 times in a row, but Sagarin says it could very well end on Tuesday. It gives Muncie Central the edge via the home court advantage. It says Central by 1. It's a busy night for the girls in Howard County, including a showdown of the county's 2 largest schools, of course, Kokomo and Western. The wins haven't come yet, but Western showed a lot last week in a pair of competitive losses at Carroll and Oak Hill. Kokomo started the season 6-0, but has dropped a couple in a row. It's been 6 days since the Wildcats lost 57-36 in a key NCC contest last Wednesday. Western has beaten the Wildcats the last 2 years, a big deal in any sport at any school in Howard County. Even in Rushville, Sagarin says Kokomo should end the short drought. Kokomo by 9. Northwestern has lost 3 in a row and could really use a win. On Tuesday, the Tigers go to rival Eastern and should get one. The Comets are 0-8 and have some winnable games coming up. This is not one of them. The Sagarin rating says Northwestern by 21. And 2-8 Taylor hosts Northfield Tuesday, and its second of 4 straight home games. The Titans have lost 3 in a row since winning their only 2 games of the season in their last 2 games of November. Northfield is 3-4 and has won 2 of its last 3, including a 61-50 win over Manchester in its most recent outing. The Sagarin rating says Northfield by 21. And now you know everything we know about Central Indiana girls basketball. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. And I love Susie.